Assembly in Rivers State. So faction is an aberration. It's not what we would expect, because that does not give us what we expect in terms of.
Now, when you say one party,
it's unfortunate that we have this kind of situation in our hand.
Now, when you say one party, I don't know if you remember that 27 left, to the APC, which is of course one of the most trending issues in Rivers State, and then we have another 3 left because one has resigned, now chief of staff. So maybe we do have that, different party system at the House of Assembly, if you agree with me on that one.
If you insist that there are different parties, I would like to ask where the different parties are sitting. I understand that some parties are sitting in government house and other parties sitting in the complex.
Okay.
So are they the same party or different party?
My goodness, you just asked a very good question there. But then again, the judiciary,
even our neighboring Abia State. Yes.
You were going to say something about neighboring Abia State. What were you going to say?
Yes, I was saying that we have that kind of beautiful system in Abia where we have PDP and Labour Party members in the House Assembly. But in the case of Rivers State, they are like water and oil. They don't mix. So maybe we need a new definition for a House of Assembly, because they are saying that they have defected. The defection is not legal. It's still being contested. So until then, they remain members of PDP until the court says otherwise.
Interesting. Okay, I like the way you put it. But then again, why do you think the judiciary is slow on this? I know we have a very slow judiciary, but one would think that this matter would have been sorted out a long time ago. Why do you think the pace is as slow as it is?
Then you will appreciate the human nature of every system, because human beings run every system. I have my beef with the judiciary. My beef is that judiciary in Nigeria does not give priority to issues that concern the common man, even though every now and again we say the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. But when you look at the person who is...
All right, the network is terrible.
Or somebody who, I don't know if you lost me at some point. I was saying that you used to hear that judiciary is the hope of the common man, but in Nigeria, in reality, it is the hope of the big men. So judiciary in Nigeria is known to be very slow and very analog in nature. So let the big men also experience what the common men experience when they take their matters to court. For now, it's the church and the family meetings that are helping us sorting out issues quickly. Judiciary in Nigeria is known to be very sluggish, so they are just doing what they are known for.
Okay, so now let's come to the issue of the governor visiting, because now there are factions. There is the Victor Okojumbo faction, there is the Martin Amaewhule faction, and all of them are supposed to use the House of Assembly quarters, I believe, for their plenary, which is likely to cause violence. The governor then visits yesterday after de-recognizing the Martin Amaewhule faction. What do you make of all of this?
What is wrong with governor visiting members of House of Assembly? Why are they shouting?
They said that the governor should have written, like the president would write the National Assembly if he were to visit.
No, that is not correct. That is not correct. We have a democracy, for God's sake. That property they are in is a government property. And probably when the construction was being done, it was supervised by the executive, and the House of Assembly members also went there for oversight function. So in democracy, the executive checked the judiciary checked the executive, House of Assembly checked the executive and the judiciary. It's checks and balance. So probably the governor went there to check for some defects, if the house is even safe for their inhabitation. There's no room for panic until there's an official statement. We were here when the Labour Party Secretariat had a structural defect. The building is still standing and has now been occupied after the defect, in quotes, has been taken care of. So maybe there are defects or maybe the House of Assembly.
When you say oversight, it does not mean that you have power over me, right? Because just like someone asked earlier, just like the legislators cannot barge into the government house, So
It's
also,
not a bad thing. I've been to that
no,
quarters before.
some people. I mean, Enemy Judge on Facebook, one of the legislators, Martin Amaewhule-led, in the news. They said there was a badging. There was a badging into.
The last thing I heard was the media and Facebook, please.
Okay, yeah, I was saying that Enemy Judge on Facebook and Martin Amaewhule in the media. They were all saying that the governor barged in, to... Maybe I should play it again so you can take a listen. Where is that?
No. You don't even need to play it. If somebody says the governor barged in, will you believe that? How can the governor of a state barge? Do you know the length of the governor's convoy? He must have come with all the paraphernalia of the state. That is not barging in. And again, no part of the River State is beyond the reach of the governor. I would like the governor to barge into my street to see a few potholes. I would like him to barge into my office so that I can explain what Obiakwa boys did to me within the week. So those kind of badgings are very important. It's a welcome development. I don't think the governor badged. He only went there to take a few look at some things. The House of Assembly quarters, believe me, is one of the most beautiful places in Port Harcourt. I don't know if you have visited there. So maybe the governor went there to admire it and see whether he can replicate it for councillors or replicate it for even Marcus, he actually said he wants to rehabilitate, and it brings us to our next conversation. If he wants to renovate, Scala, is that not a welcome development?
It was built just last year, and it brings us to our next conversation, Marcus. Okay. These houses or this structure was built with taxpayers' money. Even the labor building you talked about was done with taxpayers' money, and even at the time when it was there was a talk about destruction, or is it defection, or what
structural defect, yes.
Yeah, they were going to bring it down. We said, what's going to happen to the taxpayers' money that was used to build it in the first place? Is this not politics taken too far at the expense of taxpayers' money?
I will throw the question back to you. The shopping complex or the building behind the House of Assembly, we shouted. Our shout stopped the demolition. So, and when they built those houses for them and furnished it with smart TVs and modern technologies and all of that, they didn't complain to us that, this house was too much for us, so it's too expensive. Why does the governor give us a low-cost housing like the one in Woji Estate or something smaller so that we can save costs for the state? Nobody complained at that time. So if the governor wants to renovate the place, everybody should move out for renovations to take place. We want our House of Assembly members to be very safe in their houses. We don't want houses collapsing or fire or anything happening to them.
And you don't think this is political, Marcus?
Of course it's politics. It's politics. You cannot. Politics and economy, they are intertwined. So you can't separate politics from economics. So it's for the governor, it's politics. For the rest of us, we are looking at the economic angle and all of that. So either way you look at it, the governor is playing a game. I've always told you that this thing is a game they are playing. Eventually we will see, but unfortunately for us, the Rivers people are biggest losers.
Okay, that's the question I was trying to ask. So, okay, how are Rivers people the biggest losers? Can you tell us?
Biggest losers because if you notice, believe me, the last time I was at your studio, I commended the governor for the improved security in Rivers State and a few other things that he is doing. But from where I sit right now, things have slowed down a bit. Everything is slowing down. I'm not joking. Because for those of us who are out there, I'm a trained journalist, but I'm currently not practicing. I'm practicing mostly advertising and marketing and media issues. But you will understand that the business of governance is slowing down in Rivers State. When was the last time you had investors visit the government house? When was the last time somebody is announcing a new project in Rivers State, whether from government or from the private sector? And investors are holding back their money because they don't know which House of Assembly will eventually win from the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal. They don't know whether Sim will successfully be impeached according to the command.
All right, we will go for a quick commercial break. When we do come back, we will talk some more. I'm going to ask, still on this, if we are using taxpayers' money to fund politicking. And secondly, are we building men who are stronger than institutions. These are some of the conversations we will be having, so please do stay tuned, because when we look back, all of this power struggle could be seen in our history. Are we also going back to the days of violence and the days of
For how much? That's how you react when you see really high prices.
Of the hour, 5:30 p.m. and you're still listening to Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kalada Karubas, but I still have Marcus Ejema, a social political commentator, on the show, and we're looking at the State House of Assembly complex saga and all of the intrigues playing out right now. And I just saw the headline that a court has restricted or is restraining Martin Amaewhule and others from parading as members of assembly. Your thoughts on that I'll get when I open the phone lines. But back to Marcus. Marcus, can you hear me? It seems noisy from your end.
Yes, I can hear you. So sorry, please.
All right.
Hear you,
all right. So the question I was going to ask, before the commercial was, you said Rivers people are the biggest losers. I was wondering how, because the first question I asked, all of this politics, is it not at the expense of, is it not at the expense of taxpayers' money?
Of course, that is what it is. The Rivers people are losing, and like I was trying to emphasize, if you're a businessman like me in Rivers State, you will understand that government business is slowing down. Number two, there's heavy investor confidence loss. I was asking you a question, whether your reporter in Government House have recently reported any visit from any investor or anybody who came to the Government House to indicate interest in putting money in Rivers State. And other local investors are also holding back their funds because you don't want to put your money somewhere and tomorrow the Supreme Court or just like you read now, the court declares that somebody is now in charge and that person was not the person who signed the agreement with you. You will have to start all over again. So investor confidence in Rivers State is going down, which is not very good for the business of the state. So that is a very big and huge loss for the state, because if investors don't come in, employment won't come, and so taxes and revenue will also not come in too.
And then the little we have, we're using to renovate and rehabilitate the recently built structure. But then again, my next question will be the possibility of violence erupting in the state. You stated not too long ago that you were praising the government for the security. Are we not going to lose all of that?
Of course, because it's multidimensional. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, the crisis is in two phases. While you are looking at the political angle, which is PDP, APC, Wike, SIM, you are also looking at the upland and riverine politics. Of late, we saw a delegation of Ijaw leaders from Bayelsa State visiting Rivers State. So there's a tribal and an ethnic dimension to this thing, which is the most dangerous part of this whole crisis. At the beginning of the crisis, you could see people marching on the streets of Port Harcourt, shouting "Ahizo" and all of those kind of things, and making the issue a nationality thing. In other words, somebody is against the Ijaw ethnic nation. So, and when you walk on the streets of Port Harcourt, nobody is carrying an ID card, I'm Ijaw, I'm Ikwere, I'm Okrik, I'm Ogoni, and all of that. So, in the end, it might all of this emotion might snowball into violence, because all it takes is for two protesters to just jam on the streets of Port Harcourt, and it starts from there. So praying that it doesn't get to that level, that we find a political solution as fast as possible. I don't think the legal solution will do as much justice as the political solution will be.
What political solution do you think, or do you have in mind? Because we had one, and you were one of the people who said that was cosmetic.
Yes, it's cosmetic because it didn't get to the root of the matter. The root of this matter is about dipping hand in the pots of Rivers State. Whether we like it or not, that is where the problem started from. Because by the time you are nominating commissioners for a governor and you are nominating critical position for a sitting governor, what are you trying to say? You are trying to safeguard every contract, every job, every recruitment that will come out of that ministry. So invariably, the governor is just what adjective will I use that will not look derogatory? He's just I'm looking for that word. I can't find it. Just like a figurehead. Yes, okay. Let me use the word figurehead. The governor was just like a figurehead, while somebody else somewhere another judge is detecting what happens in Government House. Because at the point in Rivers State, we had two Government House. One is in Port Harcourt City and the other one is in Obiakwa on Ada George. So it's not fair to anybody for that. We may deny, the minister might deny this forever. His supporters might deny it forever. But when you look closely at this crisis, that was the genesis of it. So if the honorable minister can decide today and say, okay, Mr. Governor, since you don't want me to dictate to you what to do, you want to be your own man, I hands off.
Okay.
That is a political solution. I'm leaving River State to you to govern.
All right. So quickly, because I have a few more questions and time is fast spent. So now we know, let's look at, you've told us about the political solution, but let's go back to the legal solution. We've seen different court cases, different orders and judgments from courts of equal jurisdiction. And that has also thrown the state into some kind of confusion. At this point, is it not safe to say, let us wait till all of these court cases are done with, or all of these actions by both parties, the Amaewhule party, the governor's party, the Victor Oko-Jumbo party, are they not impugning on the institution called the judiciary?
The judiciary exposed themselves in the first place. You understand? The judiciary were the ones that exposed themselves to this kind of political manipulations that you are seeing. It didn't start today. The issue of different judgment coming out of the same court of competent jurisdiction didn't start with this Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. We saw a lot of it under the previous administration. And if you backdate a little, you will still see those kind of strange judgment that they give that makes everybody shock with open mouths. So the interpretation given by the Constitution to the issue of defection is what is being contested. For me, that's the most important matter. So let the matter, since the Constitution, the section that everybody has been quoting is not clear enough, it's now under dispute, just like the Abuja and including Abuja in the presidential tribunal. Let's allow the Supreme Court to
go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Whether when somebody defects, he loses his seat. It is quite clear to everybody that that's what the Constitution said. But some people are saying that is not what it implies. Okay. Even lawyers, even senior lawyers have argued that. So let it get back to this. The judges of the Supreme Court and the judges of our courts can interpret this problem that they have given to us with their grammars that they speak that is not clear to the layman.
Okay.
So when it gets to the Supreme Court, if we eventually get to the Supreme Court, forget the High Court and the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
This matter will get to and I want it to get to the Supreme Court. So let's get that interpretation once and for all. Because if you notice, since this new administration started, hardly will you hear anybody talk about defection in any state in the Federation. Have you noticed? Unlike before, you would have seen Labour Party after the Supreme Court declared Bola Ahmed Tinubu the winner of the presidential election. Senators and House of Representatives would have started cross-carpeting for juicy appointments and other things. But that hasn't happened. Okay. Do you think our politicians have learned any lesson? No. They are all waiting for this interpretation from River State.
Okay, Marcus, now, are we at that precipice where we are further weakening institutions and systems and strengthening individuals? Because when we talk about this political issue, we call individuals, for instance, Martin Amaewhule, for instance, Edison Ehe, for instance, Victor Oko-Jumbo, His Excellency Simnalai Fubara, His Excellency Yesom Wike, individuals, His Excellency Peter Odili. Individuals. We're not talking systems per se. And like you've mentioned, that section of the Constitution has been a major cause of debate because of personal, I don't know if I'm making sense, personal reasons, not systematic reasons, or rather systemic reasons, I beg your pardon, not systemic reasons. So then the question then is, are we yet again at that juncture where we are strengthening individuals and not systems and institutions?
I think my answer will be no. Both of them are being strengthened, right? Like I said, every interpretation, this matter will get to Supreme Court because the politicians won't rest.
No. My question is, before it gets your question. Okay.
Yes. I get your question. So I said the matter will get to the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court gives an interpretation, our judiciary has been strengthened. So tomorrow, when somebody is bringing those kind of arguments, there's a Supreme Court judgment that we can then quote as precedent, and that solves the matter, because not every issue that concerns every facet of Nigerian life is in the Constitution. Some of them will be determined by the court, and if there are no new status quo, that becomes the precedent and the new law. So now, as for the individuals, in the School of Journalism, you will understand that the 5 elements of journalism, or news rather, is the 4 W's and the H. The what, when, who, and where, and how. So we are strengthening the who, which is the individuals. It's also good for us, because it is individuals that must make news. So we are not strengthening them per se.
But really, Marcus, is it really the individual that must make the news, or the system itself? I mean, when we look at all these other countries, we rarely see individuals who are bigger than the system. Donald Trump has got a couple of cases. Go ahead.
The ones in River State are not yet bigger than the system. They are not bigger than the system.
Are you sure?
The individuals we are talking, yes, they are not. They are not.
Marco, sorry. In honesty, we've seen, even if we would not want to agree, on both sides, we've seen the Constitution being stepped on, being, malhandled. And everybody's
manipulated,
clapping.
yeah.
All of the adjectives and adverbs you can use, and people are clapping and saying, "Oh yes, it's been done before. Oh yes, it to him."
Whatever they are doing, Kala, whatever they are doing is temporal. That is the joy of everything.
All right.
You know, do you remember the name Evans BP? Yes, 8 years ago in River State.
Yes, I do.
When was the last time he made headline on your station?
But a couple of weeks. It's been part of the Thanksgiving.
Good. Before then, you probably didn't hear.
Okay.
I can go on and on to mention names that we used to. The other day, I heard that former Senator Thompson Sekebo was having a Thanksgiving as well. You know, Rivers people love to thank God a lot.
Yeah.
He was having a Thanksgiving, and when I heard it on your news, it dawned on me that I haven't heard his name in a while. So these people are just temporal. They are passive. If only they realize, including the governors, that after a while you will be alive and no journalist will give you microphone to call any press conference, because the position that makes you who you are is over.
Okay.
We have a lot of big names in Rivers politics that we no longer hear, and that's simply because their time is up. And like William Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. These men are the ones acting now. Whether what they're acting is a comedy or an action movie, only time will tell. But either way, in the next, very soon, by the end of this month, they would have all spent 1 year in office. And then in another 3 years, they're out of office by the grace of God. And we will go over again and do another Thanksgiving for the new people that are coming in. So please don't bother your head about how strong they have become. No matter how much they abuse the Constitution.
Listen to some opinions who may not agree with you entirely. Yes, of course. That's the beauty of the conversation. It's democracy. This one says, good evening, Kalada. When I hear people supporting the governor going into the official residence of the State Assembly without following the protocol, I laugh and shudder. Are you saying that the president can just pay a visit to the National Assembly complex or their quarters? Can the president just go into the Supreme Court complex or the official residence of the Chief Justice of Nigeria and address the press to say he came to their office or residence for possible rehabilitation without recourse to the National Assembly leadership or the leadership of the NJC? Because he is the president. In all government bureaucracies, protocols are very important. The governor should always do the right thing, no matter the circumstances. From Ibiba in Port Harcourt, but Ibiba, I think you didn't put into cognizance the fact that there's a faction, and now there's a court case actually. And of course, the governor had said he does not recognize the Amaewhule-led assembly. This one says, please tell your guests that Senator Ifeanyi Ubah of the YPP has recently defected to the APC just 2 weeks ago. 6 Labour Party state assembly members defected to the PDP in Enugu State from Ibiba. All right. This one says, I think Rivers people Marcos should be reminded that Labour House belongs to interest group, but the legislative quarters belongs to an independent arm of government created by the same constitution that created the office of the governor. And the law stipulates the funding of the legislator as an arm of government. Hence, former President Buhari did not invade or shut down the National Assembly or the legislative quarters in Abuja. Governors have no other powers other than the powers assigned to the office in the 1999 Constitution as amended. By practice, the Speaker controls and decide activities around the legislative arm of government of the state. If we continue to enthrone emperors and promote impunity, nature has a way of making men to reap what they have sown in the past. The same people who are hailing Governor Fubara into illegality and disrespect for the Grandam were same people who supported Senator Bukola Saraki and Honorable Aminu Tambuwal into legislative rascality until Bukola Saraki sunk politically at the national level and in Kwara State. If I may ask, if the provisions of the law are automatic, as some people are insinuating now, why do we have courts in Nigeria? Why did Governor Fubara not vacate the brick house when architects Tony Cole and Beatrice challenged his victory at the court? Governor Fubara should use his tongue to count his teeth and reject these instigations into illegality because the armor of the law is coming soon. Emi Fiaga with that long piece. But let's see. We'll go to the phone lines now. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. This one says, I'm so glad to hear now that supporters restrained Martin Amaewhule and co from parading themselves as lawmakers. They should be evicted from the assembly quarters with immediate alacrity. Ogo Ojon Justice. And this one says you are a Sim supporter, because he's saying I should stop inviting Sim supporters to the radio station for interview and for the radio. Are you a Sim supporter? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Are you a Sim supporter? Someone says you are.
If I was a Sim supporter, how did I notice that it's affecting the investment and economic climate of Rivers State? How did I arrive at the conclusion that his visit to the House of Assembly or purported renovation plan was political? I also acknowledge all of that.
Okay.
If I were a supporter, I wouldn't be mentioning those kinds of things. Okay. I would probably be biased, but there's no way you look at this matter without sounding like you belong to either side.
All right.
That is just the truth. And then to those who say that defections are now happening, like I ended my conversation, I said that everybody is still waiting for this River State judgment, but it is not happening like before, because everybody is confused about that section of the Constitution. So the Rivers case will become a precedent, just like we have a precedent from Amici and Omeya and all of those other precedents that have now been known to law, which were not known before now. So those are the issues. And then finally, I'd like to add, does the governor not have freedom of movement? Is that what you're telling me? I should write to the House of Assembly before entering that compound? Is that compound not in Rivers State? Is it an embassy? So these issues is neither here nor there. If the governor decides not to send the commissioner and decides to go himself, he has a right to visit any part of Rivers State because he is the governor.
All right.
And for the record, National Assembly does not have the president visiting them when they had a quarter. When the Senate was in the president goes there to visit the Senate, David Mark, in official quarter, was Bukola Saraki visited. But the point I'm trying is that when all protocols, don't present
because we are. I'm waiting for to 702 and 0817-923-0003. I'm waiting for that. See if this one is going to play out.
Good evening. Yes, Rivers politics with cases. The governor, to me, have the right to pay the assembly quarters visits. Now, the Martins Amaewhule is saying different things. They beat anybody there. Sometimes when, if for example now they are in good shape where they have before, and the governor come there, they will pump champagne and take everything. Now because they are supposed to write you. See here, Rivers State. From there, I have no bet. Are you running with all your family members? Rivers State. The answer is no. So, directly or indirectly, all of us suffer this thing that is happening, and people are paying hand. I guess I told you, 20s are happening. If the agency, the judiciary, is I said I want to give this case a certain hearing. That I not hear this. I go to the house and sleep. I said I will see it again. The center is deriving joy for what is happening in River State. Just look at Emeka Wuke. Say he resigned. They've given appointment. George Kelly resigned. They give him appointment. So you see that anybody that is not going the same way with the governor, that is loyal to the minister, that is not loyal to the governor, I employ them. When I go there, the center will give them job. So it's just like we'll do anything we like here, set the state ungovernable, and go there, they'll give us appointment. Now, the former Attorney General, now he's saying his own. If it is me, so as a professional in my field, and things are not going well, I will resign before you even give me another.
So I would have to pause you there, and let's see if I can take the calls. 92.3 Nigeria Info. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, my name is Bayo.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you. Quickly, please.
My name is Bayo. I am here in the All
right, Pius.
About what is happening here in Rivers.
All right, Pius, welcome. Quickly, we don't have much time. You have 60 seconds.
All right. Hello?
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Yeah, Kalada, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you.
Yeah, my name is Christian. Right. This macabre dance that we are lying to reach the climax, I am neither for or against, but I think the river people deserve more. Because if many people will call, people will be taking sides. But I hope we don't take those things. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you look at how things are going in this state, these are just group of friends that, if you ask me, even the way they came to power is questionable. But what do we know? But if like somebody is saying, I would have wished our governor to go and see those things that the children are sitting on the chair, on the floor and learning. I wish to go to so many other places that people demand or wanted him to come. And not like an assembly complex, where we all know that this house we had renovated last year. No matter how we pretend, I think that there is a hand of karma in all these things that we are seeing, and it's going to run its course. For me, I hope it doesn't.
The leader of the Simplified movement in Nahoda East local government